You've got to be able to tell your story and not wonder about how family is going to treat you. And if you're coming into the game and hoping that your family is going to be the biggest supporters, I'm going to tell you right now, you may get some good ones and you may not. And you got to be able to deal with that. You've got to know who you are and why. Like your why has to be at the very forefront. You cannot play with that. If you don't understand why you're doing it, you will fizzle out. You will burn out super quick.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. So for all those crazy people who never heard of your girl, who ain't tapped in, they don't know what's going on. Southwest Philly is in the building. Give us your name and tell us what you do in a couple of seconds.
All right, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Toi Storr. I'm from Philly. Been here for over 10 years. I am a lifestyle content creator, a podcaster, freelance writer, blogger, lots of titles. So I do it all.
All right. I like that. So let's go back where it all started for you from the beginning of time. How did you fall in love with being a blogger?
Ooh, all right. So surprisingly enough, I started off being a blogger from dealing with postpartum depression. I'm a mom of 3. And honestly, my therapist is the one who encouraged me to start writing and doing the blog. It was something that at the time she wanted me to do because it was something exclusively for me. It didn't have anything to do with me being a mom. I didn't write it from that perspective, but it started from that, going through postpartum was just an out-of-body experience. And I just needed something that was exclusively for me and not tied to the fact of my title. So that's how it started almost 11 years ago.
Okay. I like that. So let me ask you this. When you were getting, I don't know, treatment, therapy, all of that, she's talking to you and things like that. Were you just like, I don't want to do that. That's not me. Were there some challenges there when you first, when she first introduced the idea to you?
So first, I didn't understand what a blogger was, not realizing that some of the things I was reading online were from bloggers. Just under the time, the title just wasn't as popping as it is now. Like everybody's a blogger. If you go to people's Instagram, you'll see titles of blogger. They don't even have a website, but they're a blogger. And so even though she encouraged me during the initial part of my therapy, it probably took me almost another year before I actually took the leap. So a lot of that had to do with the fact of like timing. I'm a mom. I have two young kids at the time, or maybe 3 at the time, all 3 of my kids at the time. And finding the time to write, I didn't have a laptop. There were so many hurdles that I kept telling myself, the excuses. Oh, you don't have a laptop. You don't have this. You don't have that. And one day I decided I'm going to give it a try, whether I have the laptop or not. And I started blogging from my cell phone, which a lot of people do now. I mean, I still use my laptop and my phone, but a lot of people start from their phone. And once I got past the hurdles that I was telling myself I wasn't capable enough, then it became more of a natural beat for me.
I like that. So it's kind of natural for you. So you were kind of struggling with not having a laptop, not having certain things in place. Right. Did you wised up a little bit, got the cell phone, even, I don't know, Boost Mobile, T-Mobile,
it was
Sprint,
a BlackBerry.
Whatever.
It was actually a BlackBerry, which actually at the time was probably the best thing to have for a blogger because you had the full keyboard, unlike now where you're typing kind of weirdly. It's a little different now with the iPhone. But I had a BlackBerry and I started right from there. And one day I decided, it was around the holidays, around November, and I started to write just about different things that people go through during the holidays, whether it's like gift giving, whatever it was. And I just started talking about like the mental health part of it, of going through, the holidays during the Christmas season and like the highs and the lows. And that's literally how it came about.
So when you were, putting things together, things like that, writing about mental health, did you have any structure to what you were doing, or you were just doing it?
I was just doing it. It is not as much structure as it is now for me. It just was something where I just got on my BlackBerry and I just started writing. No structure at all. I didn't even understand the structure of blogging until maybe years later. But it was just like, let me get my thoughts out. Let me write this out. Let me just write. And I've always been a writer, like pretty much been a writer my entire life. But taking something and being so vulnerable and then putting me out there, that was like a horse of a different color for me. That was just totally different for me.
Okay. All right. So you're writing now,
Hmm.
doing your thing, got your little phone, your BlackBerry set up. At
Yeah.
what time did the laptop come into place? Because I'm not hearing the laptop. When did you get your laptop?
My first laptop. Ooh, okay. Honestly, I think I may have gotten the laptop almost 3 years later.
Hmm.
So it wasn't, I know, you're giving me the look. I know it sounds crazy, but I got so comfortable with the BlackBerry and then I switched eventually over to the iPhone, that I didn't have one. I just felt like, okay, I'm already doing it this way. I can kind of do what needs to be done. So I didn't have the push to get the laptop until maybe 3 years later.
Hmm.
I
Okay.
know.
All right.
No.
Shout out to you. Shout out to you. So now you got your laptop.
Mhm.
You transitioned from the BlackBerry to the laptop. Did you leave the BlackBerry alone? And then when you got to the laptop, now what was the first thing you actually put together as a blogger?
I went from BlackBerry to iPhone, and when I got the laptop, I don't know. For me, I can go back and forth now because I feel like more of a seasoned writer and a seasoned blogger, but I still rely more on my laptop. Seeing it on the laptop allows me to format it a little bit different and to add that structure. And so the first thing I did was to go back to some of the older blogs and just clean them up, like clean them up and get them a little bit more fortitude, because I was just writing thoughts, but there wasn't structure. It wasn't, you know, where you start off with a thought and you have, it just wasn't, it was not structured at all. I have to admit. And I'm still going back to this day, still cleaning up some of those old ones because I have a lot of content on my blog. But the first thing I did was just try to clean everything up.
Hmm. Okay, okay. Good for you. Good for you. Good for you. Yo, if you are just joining us, you are tuned in to the Kenny D Show. And I'm your host, Kenny D, where we bring you entrepreneurs, hustlers, and stars. And today we got an entrepreneur in the building, the one and only Toi Storr. I like it right here on the Kenny D Show. So let me ask you this. You're blogging and things like that, doing your thing. What makes a great blogger from just an ordinary blogger?
So to me, I think a great blogger is one who understands their audience. I know for a fact a lot of people in my audience are going to be mostly women. Not that men don't follow me because they do. Not that men don't read it because they do. Because I do write topics that are pertinent to men as well. But I knew my audience were women. They were probably around the same age as I was, and they were women who were probably struggling with different aspects of their life, whether it was mental health, whether it was structure in their own life, whether it was like establishing that me time and just trying to figure out life. I knew that I had to write according to that. So once I understood my audience, I've always kept it to that. I've always kept it to the audience. My first website, I felt like it was more about me because I didn't understand the concept of taking the website and making it about the people that are reading it versus how I aesthetically wanted it to see it. And that was a lesson that I learned very early. And once I got that really down packed, that was helpful for me to make sure that when people come on there, that they need to be able to find whatever it is that they're looking for.
Hmm. Okay, I like that. So let me ask you about that in terms of blogging and knowing your audience. How long does it take to kind of discover who your audience is, what they're about, and stuff like that? How long does it take to discover your audience?
It takes a while. I feel like the very first thing you have to do is understand what it is that you want to do too. Like you have to understand what it is that you're trying to put out, because your audience, whoever is going to mesh with you, is going to mesh because they have some type of alignment with you. So for instance, I made it very clear from the very beginning, even before like brand deals became into play, that no matter what I would do, I would stay true to the fact that I am writing to help mostly women to again accomplish living life with whatever they have on their plate. Meaning, I know I talk very openly about dealing with like anxiety and depressive moods, and so I don't want people to think that I just like all of a sudden just became perfect overnight. That wasn't it. But in the midst of that, I wanted people to understand like you can have these things that are happening in your life and still live. And so because of that, that's always been my focus. I've never changed it. I've never stopped with that. And if you have a person who can switch quickly because of a brand, you're not going to make it. Like you're not going to make it in this field and have people trust you. The whole goal is to write where people can understand you and trust that whatever you're putting out is one, thoughtful, well thought out, and well written. And you can't do that if you're flip flopping. So
Hmm. Okay, so I hear you helping the women with mental health, helping them with this, helping them excel. What's up with the fellas? You're not helping us? What's going on? We
So
want
not,
great mental health too. Why you
so
not helping
not.
the fellas?
So not true. So I'm always here for men. I feel like a lot of men for the most part, I think women are better at expressing their thoughts
Mm,
openly, right? And I
true.
think men deal with the same types of things, maybe in different concepts, but they're not taught. We're not hearing men be vulnerable because as soon as a man is vulnerable, we start saying things like, "Oh, they're too soft." And for me,
Mm,
I find like that to be so crazy because why? Why is a man not able to say, I'm struggling today, I need to take some time out? Or, like I have a husband and I'll say to him, hey, you like you should go out and like do something that makes you excited. Like he loves to skate, go skate, like go do something that makes you just as happy as he would encourage me. But again, if you hear that, then some woman, usually a woman, unfortunately, ladies, I know you're gonna come for me, but it's usually a woman that will put that label on a man that says that they're too this, too that. But the reality of it is that a man can still be strong and still express himself. So I've always been very cognizant of that. I've always, always, always been clear to make sure that that message is very clear so other men can feel comfortable enough.
So you think if maybe more women around the country was more inviting to a man, opening up and being a little bit vulnerable, you think more men would step up to the plate and show that side of them?
I do, but I also feel men play a part in that too. Sometimes there are some men who will they're just as judgmental with women as well. So it goes both ways. As much as I want men to be able to feel to be opened up, I also want to make sure that if I open up to you as a woman, I don't need you to judge me because I said, oh, I'm done with a little bit of anxiety. And to you, it may seem dumb. And to you, it may not seem that serious. But to me, it may mean the world to me because I'm really struggling with something. I need you to listen. So I think it's a two-way street. I don't think it's a one side fits all. I really don't. I think it's two-way.
Hmm. Now let me ask this, because I think when we grow up as men and things like that, when we're younger, maybe a lot of us grow up with single mothers. Maybe
Mhm.
they don't teach the little boys how to be, more emotionally stable and not, blasting out for little small things. You think it's a byproduct of that as well?
I do think it could be that. A lot of women, especially if you're talking about women that look like me, black women, I think black women, a lot of times, if they're in a single household, they're mostly focused on survival, right?
Mm,
They're single home, they're bringing in everything is on them, everything is on their shoulders. And so sometimes I feel like that could be where a lot of them are not cognizant of the fact that if they're telling their son, you have to quote unquote man up. My son shouldn't be requested to man up. He's a child. And if he's expressing
mm.
something that how he feels, allow him to have that and then structure the conversation. But we don't, if we're not taught that and we're not seeing that, we can't reciprocate that to the sons, our sons, or our men around us.
Hmm. Well said, well said. Now you being a Philly native, quote unquote, what's up? Is it tough out there? Because I know it's tough for the football players, the NBA players. Is it tough for a blogger to blog in Philly?
No, I feel like Philly has so many open acceptance with bloggers. Again, I've said this before. If you go onto some people's Instagram, you'll see the title of blogger. And this is the reason why, because now the title of creative or content creator is now widely accepted. Back in when I first started, you were either a blogger or you were a business owner or something else, but people didn't have necessarily websites. So they weren't real bloggers. They just used the title because that was socially acceptable. I think in Philly, a lot of bloggers are thriving. I know so many that I know personally that are doing great here. The city is great. There's so many things to do. There's so many things to see. And I feel like if you just stepped out and just attended some of these events, you could easily blog about any of these things that are happening.
Mm. So let me ask this, because I was excited to have you on the show, the bloggers and all that thing. When it comes to bloggers and an author, in your opinion, obviously they're both writing. You're a great writer yourself. What is the difference between an author and a blogger?
So a blogger is going to write things that could have a lot of factual facts along with that, but they're going to come from personal experience in my personal experience. But an author is going to have a product. So they're putting out a book, whether it be an ebook, whether it be a physical book, that author is putting out a product. And yes, bloggers are putting out products if they have a website and all those things, but the amount of time and space, like for instance, if I write a blog, it could be between 800 to 1,000 words. An author is going to have something that's a lot more in depth. It's going to be a lot longer. It's going to have more meat and potatoes to it. It's just got more to it. So yes, a blogger can turn out to become an author, but not all authors are bloggers, because again, blogging is a space where you're taking a conversation, a thought process, and you're writing a short conversation about that, or you're writing something that's short within, usually less than 2,000 words, but an author usually has a little bit more.
Well said. So as a blogger, do you have to have relationships with, I don't know, Universal Music Group or Sony, Def Jam, something like that? Is that something you have to do as a blogger? So maybe you can blog for some of their artists?
I have seen bloggers. I mean, I have some relationships with those, but those are built. I think those are built between my writing as well as my content creation. They kind of come together, but not necessarily. I've seen it go where most people have that content creation part of it, and that kind of brings in Universal and all those other aspects to it, and not necessarily just the blogging part of it.
So in terms of the fun stuff, what's the best thing to blog about? Is it a product like an artist? Is it a day-to-day life of, I don't know, Wendy Williams or something like that? What's the best thing to blog about?
So here's the thing. There are different styles of bloggers. There are different types. You have the entertainment bloggers that, again, we saw where, like, I hate to say her name, but Tasha K, who wrote about Cardi B, got sued, all those different things. Those are entertainment and bloggers that write about exclusively what they think an entertainer is doing. There are people like myself who consider themselves more lifestyle and mental health and wellness. There's fashion bloggers that talk about the different fashions and break down like different things you should wear. I mean, there's blogging for almost everything. I've seen gamer bloggers. I've seen car bloggers who talk about their experience with different cars. Blogging can go into any field whatsoever, and there is literally a space for all of it.
Okay. Well said, well said, well said. Yo, if you're just tuning in, you're tuned in to the Kenny D Show, where we bring you entrepreneurs, hustlers, and stars. And today we got an entrepreneur and a hustler in the building, Philly's own. That's right, the #1 blogger, Toi Storr, right here on the Kenny D Show. So let me ask you this. I love it. Conversations with Toi, your podcast. What's up? Talk to us about that. I was excited listening to it. Tell us about your podcast.
So weirdly enough, which happens to me quite often, I am in a group with She Media. She Media is a multi-platinum, not platinum, but diverse publication company. So for instance, they have certain organizations underneath them, and a lot of bloggers that I know are underneath them, and they help like monetize our websites, right? And I was talking to one of them at a trip that we had taken. I guess I might have been either New York or LA. And I was saying how I wanted to start a podcast because I wanted to, for those who don't read the blog, it could turn into like a blogcast, which is my podcast, and use my voice. And they just were so helpful in saying, well, you should talk to this person and that person. And during the pandemic, where everybody was getting mics and getting on podcasts, I was kind of apprehensive because I was like, I don't want it to come off as something that I'm doing exclusively because of COVID. But it was like the time, I didn't have the time restraints. Like, you start a new venture, and it's always like, if you add something else to the plate, you have to be dedicated to getting it done. And I had a conversation with one of the producers of Good Pods. It's one of the people who founded it. And I slid into her DM, and she responded back, and her and one of the president or the president of She Media kind of they were best friends, and I had no idea that the connection was there. And when I slid into her DM, just talking to her about what it is that I wanted to do, she gave me the tools, gave me a person who took me underneath their wings, showed me how to do it, and that's how that came about.
Yo, this your boy Kenny D. Hey, didn't mean to interrupt your show, but I just wanted to take a quick minute, just to let you guys know. If you want to see more dope interviews like this one, that's right, you want to go on YouTube and go to The Kenny D Show Live, all right? And also, don't forget about our website, thekennydshow.com, all right? We got you. Yo, I'm done talking. Back to the show. So in terms of podcasting and things like that, how much of that do you think is very underrated, where you got to give 150% when you are doing it? How much of that do you feel is underrated?
Oh, it's extremely underrated. And as you know, because you do this every day and doing a great job at it, it's the timing of getting guests. Or if you don't have guests, sometimes I'll have podcasts where I don't have guests, and making sure that you have the show kind of well thought out, and making sure that you can kind of go with the flow, like how we're having conversations. You're pulling out questions, hearing me talk, and you can pull out questions. And a lot of people don't understand how intensive it is to then go back into the editing and then adding all these different aspects to it. It's not as easy as everyone thinks, but it's not something that anybody can't do. We've been hearing conversations about everybody just having a mic and making mics more expensive because people are getting on shows and just saying any and old thing. I don't think you're going to stop that from happening because people are going to do that. But I think what people don't understand is if this is something that you really want to do, you have to have your focus. Just like with the writing, I'm focused on what it is that I'm doing. And with podcasting, I'm focused on putting quality content, making sure the sound is amazing, making sure that the guest that I put on the show is amazing. And again, all of that takes dedication.
I like that. I like that. I like that. So you have added a new family member to your family, the one and only Joy Carter. She was on your show.
Yes.
She mentioned she was your cousin now. How do you feel about having a new family member added to your family?
She's amazing. So I interviewed her twice. So the interview that just happened a few days ago, I interviewed her twice, and I absolutely love her. First of all, she just was real. And that's just kind of how I am too, just how we're having conversations, just real. I love people who are just honest and real. And she came with no pretense. I didn't have to do too much setup. It just was such a flow of conversation. And then talking with her just was so like talking to an actual cousin. And then when I actually met her over the weekend here in City Winery in Philly. And she just was as warm as she was as we talked, each other on the interview. And I just love her. Like, her music is amazing. She has so much raw talent that a lot of artists don't get, because a lot of people don't understand what it takes to become a great artist. And she has it. Like, she just has it. And I just loved everything about that interview and then meeting her.
All right, so is she your first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, all the way down
the
line?
I gotta put her as the first cousin. I ain't gonna make her second. She got it. Because again, that conversation was just such a free flow, and I just loved everything about it.
Okay. So, conversations with Toi. Are you looking at some other artists that you might want to bring on? I don't know, Freeway from Philly, Cassidy. What's up? Is there anyone else you're looking to bring on with conversations with Toi?
I'm open to it. I am open to it. One thing that I always ask is that any guest that does come on, I always will ask them at the end of the show, like, what is their self-care ritual? Like, and as long as they're open to that, I want to know all about them. I want to know about their music. I want to know about how they got their start, but I also want to know like interesting stuff that I can't read online. So that's why I always ask about how their self-care is, because some people will say, and I'll say to them, if you have nothing, let's talk about that too. Like, I don't want people to come and feel like they have to have like a list of 20 things that they do. Like, what if you say, I don't have anything and I'm working towards that, or I never thought about that? Let's talk about that too, because there's somebody else that's listening that may not have thought about that, or don't really have a self-care ritual that they do every single day. So I always like to talk about that as well.
Okay. So one of the hot topics in Philly, who they made their way out of there, Gilly and Wallow, very well known over there. Have you ever had a chance to blog about Gilly and Wallow and their podcast?
I have not had to have a conversation with them. I love them. So I love their energy. I really do. I think they're misunderstood sometimes because of just the way that they talk. And I love how, first of all, they just don't cut no corners. I love that. And I love how they can go in any arena. I just saw them today with like Dancing with Sierra. Like, they're dancing with Sierra and doing reels with her. But then they can go ahead and roast Cam Newton. It's like, I love how diversified they are. So I would love to have a conversation with them and just to pick their brain about just how they got to where they are. Because honestly, they're like the kings of Philly sometimes to me. I feel like that's how they are. They have been the drive during the Philadelphia Eagles win. So it's just been amazing watching them. So I like them.
So if Toi Storr had a chance to bring Gilly or Wallow on the show, conversations with Toi, and you could only pick one of them, who would you pick? Would it be Wallow or Gilly?
I hate separating them because I think they both have great energy, but I would say Gilly. I really want to pick his brain because I feel like sometimes I love Wallow, and they're a match. They're a great match. I feel like Gilly, he's like the president of them. Like, if you had different titles for them, it's like whatever their combination is, he's like the president. And I love the fact that he does not hold his tongue. And I also love the fact that when unfortunately he lost his son, he was very adamant about talking about that as well. And so again, they have so many facets, but Gilly, he's my guy. I would bring him on.
Okay, all right. So, $1 million worth of game. Y'all listen to the Kenny D show. Wallow and Gilly. Wallow, she loves you. Toy loves you, but she would rather have Gilly on her show. Conversations with Toy.
If we had to separate them, let's be clear. If we had to, I would go with Gilly, but I love them both.
Okay, all right. So, today's quick topic of the show is Gucci Mane, his wife, Keisha Kaor, she came on. She had a little, conversation on a boat, I believe, on the ocean. They were talking, and she said that Gucci Mane doesn't have to do anything as his wife. She does everything, bills, this, cleaning up, all of that stuff. All he has to do is take a shower. How do you feel about that? Do you feel like she's a true wife indeed? What's your thoughts on her comments that her husband really doesn't have to do anything?
Okay, so I've been on both sides of this. I have been the wife who did it all. I was a stay-at-home mom for a few years prior to, the fact that, listen, you have these kids and putting these kids in daycare will eat your whole checkup if you just off the rip, right? So I was a stay-at-home mom and I did it all. My husband didn't have to worry about anything. The house was clean. The kids were good. The meals were made. I meal prep. I still do that to this day, but my husband's hands-on, but I still felt the need to just kind of do it all. And as our relationship evolved and as my timing got crunched, I realized that we can make a system that works for us. So I am always champion for those wives who feel like they should have to do it all. My biggest thing, if you're doing it all, you got to have mutual respect, because there are some unfortunate men that will take advantage of that situation where they get their wives to do all these things. And then when their wife wants to take a break, when their wife needs certain things outside of money, they just kind of like, well, you don't need that, or I'm not here to do all those things. And any man that feels like they're babysitting their kids is a red flag for me. So again, mutual respect. So I've done it all. But then I also, again, as my timing has been crunched and things has happened, my husband and I have decided, we had a conversation about partnership. What does partnership look like? And for us, not that everybody has to follow that, partnership is us coming together and filling in when each other needs whatever it is that we need. So my husband has any problems going to make a breakfast or going to put dinner on. He doesn't have a problem with, taking his kids and doing certain things. While I may get on the flight and take a flight somewhere and do all the things that I need to do. He's a champion. He's one of the first person that's going to be there to support anything that I'm doing. And so we've switched from me doing it all to being partners. And that just had to work for the fact that our kids are getting older. My time is a lot more crunched. I can't just do it all and all the things. And so I was honest about the things that I needed help in, and he answered the call, and we don't have that problem. So I'm all for Keisha saying, she can do it all. I don't know what their timing looks like. I don't know how they run their home, but if she says she does it all and she has mutual respect from him, Gucci Mane, and he respects her and he does the things that needs, for her, and also make sure she's taken care of with her mental health and wellness, good for them. I know for some women that just would not work. For some women that just wouldn't work.
So let me ask you this, because you're a wife, you have 3 kids, you have a great husband in your corner. What is it like for you? Are you you hear women talk about, oh, he has to make 100 million, he has to make 100,000, $500,000, $250,000, all of this stuff. For you, is it 80-20? Does it have to be a 50-50 partnership? Because you just mentioned partnership earlier. What is it for Toi Storr?
For me, partnership is going to switch, meaning we don't have a 50-50. We don't have an 80-20. We don't have a 70-30. We have those fluctuations by day. Some days I'm able to get 50. He can do 50. There are days when he could do 80 and I only got 20 for the day. Maybe he has 90 and I have 10. Maybe I have 10 and he has 90. I think for us, because we understand our partnership, it changes every single day. It changes every single moment. You would think on the big things, people only focus on who's cooking, who's cleaning, who's taking the kids to school, who's doing all those things. But for me, it's the little things that I look at. So for me, saying that if he can make that type of money, I'm here for it. I'm here for it. But money isn't really the only thing. Yes, we need money to survive. We need all the things. My kids are getting older. They want all the things as well. But in the same token, our give and take switches often. And you have to be able to flow with that switch. My husband just recently got sick. I am doing all of the driving. So I call myself the family Uber, and I am doing all the driving where he would do a lot of the driving. I'm not the person that wants to necessarily drive, but I also want to make sure that my husband is good. So I don't mind running everybody here and there. But when it flips back and he's back to driving, we'll figure that out. And so those are the little things that I think about when I think about what do I need. I need somebody that can flow with me on any given moment. If I need that 20, if I need that 80 because I can only give 20, or if I give more and he can only do certain things, I need us to flow without argument. I need us to flow without, talking about separating. I need us to flow without all the extra drama that does come into play with people's relationships.
Well said, well said, well said. So let me ask you this, because I've always wondered this. For a woman, as a little girl, growing up as a grown woman as yourself now, can a woman learn how to be a wife if she wasn't taught as a kid?
Yes. Now, here's why I say that. I do believe that a lot of things that we see growing up does come into play. It does. But I do believe that you can learn, but I feel like you have to have the right partner. If you have a partner that recognizes that you don't have as many wifely instincts that I guess he would want, you have to have a partner that can be understanding to say what it is that he wants and then also reciprocate that. A lot of times I feel like conversations are not had. I think some wives assume that their partner is just like a mind reader and vice versa. And you don't get what you don't speak of. And I feel like if there's a woman that you really like, you really love her, and you want more from her, or you need more, I think that conversation needs to be had in a respectful way.
Okay. Well said, well said, well said. All right. So we getting ready to play a game called Who You Got? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to give you two women. We're going to test their loyalty test. I'm going to give you two women, and you tell me between the two, who do you think will be loyal between them?
Okay.
All right?
All
right. So the first one, we are going to go Yandy Smith
okay.
and Chrissy. Who do you think is most loyal between the two? Who you got?
I'm going to have to go with Chrissy. I think Chrissy's loyalty is at another level that I probably don't want to have that type of loyalty, but I think her loyalty is at a dangerous level. The reason why I don't say Yandy, even though she is quote unquote the wife, I think her loyalty can be tested, is because she does, from what I've seen, is she does so much checking behind what he's doing that she's not loyal to him off of like blind faith. And I think Christy is like loyal to that man. He ain't gonna never marry her, maybe or maybe not, but she is so loyal to him to a blind faith. So I feel like she's the most loyal.
Okay. All right. So we're gonna got a next one for you. Amber Rose.
Okay.
And Cardi B. Who you got?
Amber Rose does give off the fact that if she's locked into a relationship that she can be locked in, but I feel like Cardi B would be my one, because I feel like Cardi B has put up with her share of foolishness. And again, that's according to what we see on the outside. And I felt like she has tried to work it out with Offset. And I just feel like I would go with more Cardi B.
Okay. All right. I got a couple more for you.
Okay. Bring it on.
Next, we are going to go Mary J. Blige and Kelly Rowland. Who you got?
Oh, Kelly Rowland. But here's the thing. I honestly believe that Mary J. I honestly believe that had she had the right partner, she would have been locked in. I think that we see more loyalty with Kelly because she doesn't bring her relationship and marriage to the forefront. And I think any woman that can keep that with being such a celebrity as she is to the back end and not bring it out as much, I think that's a loyalty that you can't buy.
Okay. All right. And one more.
Okay.
We are going to go Portia and Jocelyn Hernandez. Who you got?
Now, I don't know if Jocelyn is married to, I believe, the man that she's with or the man that we be seeing her with. I'm not sure. But Portia, I can only go by what I see. I can only go by what I see from the outside. It's a lot going on over there. And I believe Portia's been married at least twice, if not three times, something 2 or 3 times. And I don't know. I don't know if that's bringing her loyalty line up, but I have seen Jocelyn with at least the same one person. Um, I hate to do it because I feel like Jocelyn is like a whole nother level, but I'm going to go with Jocelyn. I'm going to give it to Jocelyn. I know somebody's going to argue with me about that, but it is what it is.
So you think, hold on. So all the Stevie J stuff, all the fighting that Jocelyn does, you think she's more loyal than Portia?
But do you see how hard she fought for Stevie J?
Yes.
She fought hard in the paint for Stevie J. Like anybody that's fighting for Stevie J, you got to have a sense of some type of loyalty, because Stevie J is not somebody that I would have put my life on the line for. I can't see it. So anybody that's going to work as hard as they were for Stevie J, I got to give it to them, because that's a whole nother level.
Okay. Let's do one more.
Okay. Get creative.
Nene.
Okay.
And Phaedra. Who you got?
Ooh, I feel like we all love to put them together. Okay, I'm going to have to give this to Nene Leakes, and here's the reason why. From the reports that I saw, that she was trying to do everything with her husband, even up to the point of death. And the fact that she talked about how like mean he got. Now, anybody who's ever been around a man that's been sick, I don't care if it's the common cold, y'all be doing the most sometimes. And I feel like that test is a lot. I really do. Phaedra, again, I think she was a great wife to Apollo. And I think Apollo just came in with his demons that might not have been so worked out. But as a PK, I find some of her antics, as far as just like the lying about her pregnancy, certain things about that just don't set well. I feel like she's about the aesthetics of being a wife. So I think she wanted to appear to be a good wife. I don't know if she was in it for the long haul, but Nene, you know, they broke up, they got back together. And I think that she really wanted to stay with Greg. I think Greg was kind of pushing it towards the end. And I think that's natural when you're going through such a hardship with being sick, especially with the sickness that he had. I just think that she just was in it and she loved him. And I think she just wanted to make it work, and it just didn't happen.
So you are picking who?
I'm going with Nene Leakes.
Okay.
Nene. I know she's got a lot of things going on. She's changing. She got a lot of stuff going on, but I really got to go with Nene.
I like that. Phaedra, Nene, y'all listen to the Kenny D show. Toi feels that Nene Leakes would be the most loyal between the two of y'all. All right?
Yeah.
All right. So, for that young girl out there looking to be the next Toi Storr, for that young boy out there looking to be the next Toi Storr, what would you say to them if they wanted to get into the industry as a blogger?
Listen, you got to have some thick skin, because for how I blog, I literally put myself out there, and you've got to be able to tell your story and not be ashamed of it. You've got to be able to tell your story and not wonder about how family is going to treat you. And if you're coming into the game and hoping that your family is going to be the biggest supporters, I'm going to tell you right now, you may get some good ones and you may not. And you got to be able to deal with that. And being in this industry, because I do content creation as well, I find stuff to be really cliquish at times when you're doing different things and going to different events. You've got to know who you are and why. Like, your why has to be at the very forefront. You cannot play with that. If you don't understand why you're doing it, you will fizzle out. You will burn out super quick. So anybody that's trying to be their own version of whatever they're saying me do, I want you to have thick skin, and I want you to have your purpose. Your purpose has to be your drive, and you got to let that be the driver. You got to let it be the driver, because it's going to be the fuel that's going to lead you when you get a little tired from going so many things, or you get tired from like making sure you're up and editing. And it's going to be the thing you have to let purpose be the driver. It's going to make and break how you do brand deals. It's going to make and break how you move in this industry, and you've got to have it, period.
So you mentioned something that's very profound to me about it being cliquish. Why do you think that is? Why can't everyone just help everybody? Why is everything such a clique thing?
Because I say the word raggedy all the time when I'm talking to family, friends, podcasts, blogs. People have raggedy intentions, and sometimes they'll link up to you because they're trying to use you to get to the next level. They see you doing things, and they're like, oh, I want to get connected to her. And like, see what she's doing so I can kind of mimic it. But here's the thing, you can't mimic something that's in you. When it's there and it's you got it, nobody can mimic you even if they tried. But what I find because of that, because I know that a lot of people are just like, if you're not the person that's the aesthetic of what they think you're supposed to be, real cliquish. I've gone to many events and I've had people who won't speak to me when they're around their quote unquote friends, but when I'm by myself, will try to pick my ear. Oh, let me ask you about this advice. Let me get this question from you. And I see it all the time. How do I maintain when I see that? How do I maintain when I do see it? I come across it. I'm going to be me 24/7. And I'm not changing and switching up because I'm with a group of friends that you may not like. I've had friends in my circle that don't get along with another friend in another circle. And as long as y'all understand, don't bring me no drama, don't bring me no mess, because I'm not going to participate in it. Y'all got to work your own stuff out. So I just know who I am at this point. I'm at the age where I'm not wishy-washy. You can't bribe me, you can't pay me, you can't do any of those things, because I'm not in it for the people. I'm in it for helping people, not because what I can get from people. And people come in with those raggedy intentions, you really are going to find clicks in that type of atmosphere.
Okay, I like that. I like that. So, what can we look forward to next with you, Toi Storr? A tour? Can we look forward to you doing a class, showing people how to blog and doing their own thing, getting some brand deals? What's next for Toi Storr?
My goal is to write a book. I want to be an author. I want to write a book. I'm working on that. So that's on my plate. The next thing I want to do is I do want to do a class. I want to be able, I've been doing some mentorship with some young ladies, trying to bring them in and just show them the quote unquote ropes. So I want to take that and make that a bit bigger, because it's hard to do one-on-one with everybody all the time. So if I can make classes that really teaches people the fundamentals of like the blogging world, what to expect, how to handle their business from A to Z, I would love, 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 love to do that.
Okay. I like that. I like that. I like that. So, for you, when you are, teaching people and things of that nature, and you want to do a book, can we get the inside scoop on the book? What's the title? What is it going to be about? Can we get the inside scoop on the book here on the Kenny D Show?
You can. So I have no title yet, but it's basically taking all of my journals. I've been writing journals since I was maybe 16, and I've kept about 90% of them. And I want to take those journals and make them into a book, just showing the evolution of some things that I've experienced. And some things you'll see patterns. Like that's how I've recognized certain triggers that I've experienced, is that I'll recognize a pattern by going back to an old journal and reading that. So I want to showcase that to show people that writing, even if it's in a journal sense, a lot of people say, I'm not a writer. But sometimes if you're writing your thoughts out in a journal, even though it's raw, for me, it's raw. Some things are just crossed out, names is in it. It's a lot. And I want to be able to just take and use those and write a book about how journaling has helped, but also too, just to show the evolution of like me as a person, and to show people like, you obviously can see I don't have it together today. However, despite all that, I am still moving forward. So that's the goal.
Okay. I like that. Well said indeed. So for those people who've been rocking with you since Philly, the therapist who was working with you before you first started blogging, your husband, the kids, all of that, any final thoughts or shout outs before we sign off on the Kenny D Show?
Absolutely. I want to shout out my husband, obviously. His dedication and support means the world. It's the way I can move. I can get on a flight. I can get on a train. I can get in my car and do the things, because I know home is going to be good. My children are at different phases and different ages, and I love them equally. And I want them to know how much I love how they support the things that I do. And my goal is to make sure that even though people see me on the outside doing the things, I want to make sure that they understand that their home life with me is important, and that as much as I give to outside, nobody is getting more of me than them. So I want to shout them out. I want to shout out the people, especially my therapist, who started this whole journey just from her simple conversations, helping me during that strenuous postpartum depression period, just to shout her out. And my new therapist now that I have, just helping me along the way, just making sure that I'm solid, making sure that I can be the person that I need to be every single day. My parents, my siblings, and the people who just genuinely support. There have been people that have come into my world, into my life, who have no idea that their simple conversation has sparked something in me that has led me to something great. So to all of you guys are amazing, and I thank you for rocking with me.
All right. So also one last thing, how can they reach you? How can people reach out to you if they want you to maybe write a book for them, do some blogging, partner up with them, maybe get them a brand deal, something like that? How do they get in contact with Toi Storr?
Awesome. So my website, you go on there if you want to read and see all the things. That's at toytime, TOITIME.org. But if you want to get in contact with me, first of all my handles are at Toytime Blog, same spelling, TOITIMEBLOG. That is my handles. But as far as my email, it's toytimeblog@gmail.com, same spelling. And I'm extremely open. Slide in my DMs. I have no problems with that. Companies slide in my DMs all the time. People slide in my DMs. Slide in my DMs. Don't come with no mess, but slide in my DMs.
All right, don't come with no mess. Slide in her DMs. All right. Joe, it was a good show. Tell everybody who you chilling with.
I am here, Toi Storr, and I am with Kenny D on the Kenny D Show.
All right. And that concludes our show for this evening. But before I let you go, I'd like to thank all my viewers out there for tuning in. And make sure you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. That's right. You're going to subscribe and make sure you turn those notifications on. So when we upload videos, you are the first to get it. And last but not least, we'd like to thank the one and only, the beautiful, that's right, Philly's number one blogger, Toi Storr, for blessing us with her presence on the show. All right. See you next time on the Kenny D Show. You don't want to miss it. Holla.